Hello and welcome back to Time Under Tension. My name is Olivia Gravengard, and today I am talking to you about the dark side of fitness. There is a light and a dark side of everything. I grew up with a very black and white way of thinking, and as I've gotten older, which naturally happens as our brains mature through our 20s, I've realized how often things are not so cut and dry, which makes for a little bit of anxiety if, like me, you're someone who likes to control the future, someone who likes to predict outcomes and prepare incessantly for what's to come. When you realize that things are not as clear as we often like to think that they are, there's two-ish responses. One, we can choose to fight it and choose to attempt to make things as controllable as possible in our lives in order to feel some sense of security. We bank our sense of security on our ability or our perceived ability to control outcomes. Or we can surrender, which is honestly at times more challenging and yet more rewarding. It's the easy yoke, but it is continual surrender. It is an ongoing process. It is recommitment in every moment, every hour, every day, consistently coming back and saying, okay, I'm letting go and I'm choosing to just be in the journey. How this applies to fitness. A lot of times we set off on a fitness journey with a specific goal. We're wanting to achieve a certain weight. We're wanting to look a certain way. We're wanting to fit into a certain size. We're wanting to change our bodies for an event. We're wanting to compete in a competition. There's some external goal, and that's valuable. We talk a lot about fitness being an arena for growth, like so many other aspects of our lives. However, we get so caught up on the external goal or the end point at times that we miss the fact that along the journey is when we're becoming that person that we aspire to be. We may associate that person with having abs or being strong or just having a certain look. But we usually also tie that external achievement to a certain thing that we will be feeling. So if we say, oh, I'd like to have, whatever, a thick booty or some abs or to weigh 135 pounds. Awesome. That's great. It gives you a trajectory, gives you something towards which to aim yourself, which is valuable and vital, I would say, in this life. However, if we also recognize that we want to achieve that thing because we believe that it will be associated with a certain experience, a certain subjective feeling, a certain sense of self, a certain degree of confidence, we realize that that is truly the goal. That, well, I think that if I look this way, if I achieve this external goal, then I will feel that my efforts were valuable, that I am capable of hard things, that I'm an attractive person, that I deserve love. There's something deeper underlying that external goal. Now, you don't necessarily have to know this right out of the gates to begin on the journey. However, I think it's really important to recognize as early on as possible in the journey that if you are tying that external goal to a state of being, that is usually a positive thing. Like, I will feel more confident, for instance. If you are not practicing having a confident relationship with yourself along the way, you will not suddenly feel that at the end of the journey. And that's where a lot of people get lost in the journey, myself included. Think if I achieve this thing, then I will feel like I deserve to rest. Then I will feel like I'm worthy. Then I will feel like the effort that I put in confirms the fact that I'm a strong person. Then I will feel successful. Like there's something we tie to that external state, but ironically, we don't choose to shape that experience along the way. And if we are practicing something else along the way, we will feel that at the end of the journey. So continuing on with this example of confidence, if we believe that when we achieve a certain look, a certain outcome, we will feel confident, but all along the journey, we are practicing negative self-talk, that we are picking at ourselves in the mirror and hating the way that we look, that we are being self-degradating, or that we are shaming ourselves along the way, we won't suddenly reach a point at the end of the journey where we feel differently than that. We've been practicing self-loathing along the way, and so we will be experts at self-loathing by the end. And we often think, well, no, 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 if I look this way, if I looked like a CrossFitter, if I look like a model, if I didn't feel my thighs rubbing together, then I would feel confident. Like it'd be easy. So I know that I just need to achieve that so I can feel this way. But the fact is, you're constantly shaping your mental landscape. And if your mental architecture is very negative and you are constantly practicing putting yourself down, you will be such an expert at putting yourself down by the end of the journey that it won't even matter what you accomplish or how you grow or what you learn or how you change as a person or what you prove to yourself and others that you are capable of, because you will continue to be an expert in self-loathing. It will be the bottom of the next mountain. And that's what a growth journey is truly. You're working towards something, and we see it as that mountaintop goal when we realize that when we get there, we're only at the bottom of another mountain. So if that's the case, regardless of whether you achieve whatever goal it is or not, you can either choose to love yourself along the journey or you can choose to hate yourself along the journey. And one will be a much more pleasant experience, and both will proceed the same way in that you will continue to take one step forward at a time. So you can either take one step forward at a time in choosing to love yourself, or you can take it one step forward at a time in choosing to hate yourself. And what I found consistently as a coach, that when you try to hate yourself into change, the experience sucks. It doesn't matter what you achieve, what you accomplish. You will have a poor relationship with yourself and you will never, ever be satisfied. And that is tragic. And so, not that exercise inherently is bad, but that there is a dark side with everything. And what shapes the pursuit, whether it's light or dark, is the intention behind it and the tone with which we take the next step. I would encourage you to not get overwhelmed by how daunting it may seem to go from loathing, hating yourself, living in shame, picking yourself apart, to this seemingly ethereal goal of self-love and unconditional acceptance. And that can feel extremely irritating and very cliche to hear all of this positive talk around self-love. And it can also feel incredibly daunting to try to think about going from where you're at now, which may be a more like negative state, into this unconditionally positive state. It may not feel realistic. It may seem like uncharted territory. It may seem like that's good for other people, but not for me. It may also seem like I've gotten this far in life being hard on myself, so why would I change now? Because just because you've gone on the path in a certain way doesn't mean you have to continue on the path in that way. I'd ask yourself, if you have proceeded through this life and made progress by being really hard on yourself, what has the quality of that journey been? How often do you live in a state of positivity, fulfillment, peace, and gratitude? Is it just when you finally achieve the goal, just for a moment until you realize it's on to the next? Do you find yourself, again, loathing yourself along the way, constantly questioning your worth, never really feeling satisfied, even when other people are telling you you're amazing and you did this thing and this is impressive, just constantly feeling like it's never good enough? I don't know about you, but I don't feel like that's a good enough standard. I would rather proceed on the same journey with a mindset of, I'm enough just as I am. And I also have the capability to grow. And I also have big goals. And so I'm going to move towards those goals out of this sense of capability, out of this sense of compassion and self-love, out of this knowing that I am enough. And so I also can continue to move towards more in this life because I want more for myself. I love myself, but that I am enough as I am. And that those two things, enoughness and the pursuit of more, can coexist. This journey is not all at once. Just like surrender, it is a constant process. But it only starts one step at a time, one thought at a time. It begins with recognizing when those thoughts of inadequacy come up, when those statements of conditional love come up in your mind. When you realize that you say, well, if I achieve this, if I do this, if I look this way, if I prove myself, then I can feel satisfied. Then I can stop. Then I can rest. Then I can love myself. When you start to notice those conditional statements, the first step towards shifting your relationship is replacing them and saying, I already am those things. I am enough. I am worthy. I do love myself. I'm attractive. I'm an awesome person. I'm incredibly strong. And I promise you, if you look back on your life, you will find enough evidence to support those statements to at least be able to say them, even if you don't believe in your heart yet that they're true. But we become what we practice. And if you practice hating yourself along the way, you're going to hate yourself at every milestone along the way. But if you begin practice loving yourself and speaking to yourself with love and with compassion, that you are already shaping the milestones. You're already shaping the end of your journey. You're already embodying what that goal will feel like because you're shaping the feeling associated with not only that goal, but with what it feels like to live in yourself, to be who you are. This is ongoing. So an important part of this is not putting an incredible amount of your pressure on yourself for this to happen overnight. It will take time. It will take time to repair a broken relationship. It will take time to see yourself differently. It will take time to shift the reflexive and automatic response of frustration, of self-loathing, of fear to one that is positive and nurturing and loving and compassionate. But in every moment, with every thought, with every choice, with every belief that you choose, you begin rewiring and shaping this experience to be one that is positive and one born out of love, and one where every moment is in and of itself a little bit of a mountaintop, a stepping stone to the next moment. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope that this is valuable to you. And I hope more than anything that this encourages you on your journey, in your relationship with yourself, and that might be a more positive and loving relationship. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment. I hope this is valuable for you. And I pray that you experience a higher sense of self-love this week as you continue to practice replacing negative thoughts with positive ones and shaping the journey so that you are not totally dependent on an outcome to change your sense of self, but instead have the power in every single moment to shift the way that you're experiencing this life and the way you feel about who you are. And if I can say so, I think you're pretty incredible. Hope you have an awesome day, and I will catch you next time on Time Under Tension.